Thank you. It's 7 p.m. I'd like to call the July 17, 2013 regular session, number 7 of Raytown Board of Aldermen to order. As Mayor Pro Tem, I will be reserving my right to vote as Alderman of Ward 4. This evening, Phyllis Beaufort has graciously she is going to give the invocation for us and the Pledge of Allegiance. Would join us, please.
Okay. First, I'd like to start with a quote that I just liked. Yesterday is history, tomorrow is a mystery, today is a gift, that's why they call it the present. And that was Eleanor Roosevelt. Now if you'll bow your heads with me. God our Creator, we give thanks for the steadfast love that endures forever. Lead us into unity in this community. Teach us to understand each other. May we forgive each other and forget the past. Open our hearts so that we may see the future. May we have peace inside and in the world today and forever. Amen. Now to say the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, fellas. Graciously agreed, that's what I was looking for. At this time, I ask the city clerk to call the roll.
Alderman Lightfoot.
Here.
Alderman Emerson. Here. Alderman Nelson.
Here.
Alderman Kramer.
Here.
Alderman Locke.
Here.
Alderman Asia.
Here.
Alderman Earth.
Here.
Alderman Josh Green.
Here.
Alderman Gillespie.
Here.
Alderman Jason Green.
Here.
We have one. At this time, I'd like to open the floor for public comment. Anyone wanting to speak will be allowed 5 minutes. If someone is speaking for a group, 10 minutes will be allowed. If you would like to remind, I would like to remind everyone that there will be 2 public hearings this evening on items number 5 and 7. If you wish to speak on those items, you may want to wait until those items come before us. We have 3 individuals that would like to speak this evening. The first on the list is Catherine Nelson. And I want to remind everyone that please give your address when you come to the podium. Also, we would ask you to be respectful and keep proper decorum. We will not tolerate any personal attacks. So, Catherine Nelson, would you please come to the...
I want to talk on item 5.
Okay, all right, we'll wait for that. And Jeanette Gentry, did you wish to speak to us at this time?
Jeanette Gentry, 11,000 East 57th Street, Raytown, Missouri. I'm speaking on behalf of, I'm sorry, I don't see the number, rescinding the ordinance for the planned neighborhood commercial planned overlay district for the green space. At the last Alderman meeting, it was discussed as to why should we go backwards. Well, as a resident of Raytown who has worked since 2003 to develop a strategic plan for the development of Raytown, I don't feel that rescinding that ordinance that was created for a specific developer is going backwards within the city of Raytown. The citizens came together in a strategic process called Raytown Reaching for Tomorrow, and we did that and created the downtown plan, which included mixed-use development, which would give us the maximum availability of tax incentives with that property. I do encourage that if the aldermen have not personally read the potential lawsuit on that property, that before you vote, you read it, you understand, you ask questions. I know that the aldermen are considering, well, it's actually approved that a charter vote is going to be on the ballot sometime in April or November of 2014. And there's concern about the budget for that charter. Well, just think how much is that lawsuit going to cost you? And if you lose, it's going to cost you even more. So I think that this is a time for the aldermen voted for by the people of Raytown that put you in this position. There were not just people up here telling you anti-Walmart, anti-Walmart, anti-Walmart. There were a lot of very well-educated people who tried to inform you about urban design and the best use for that space. And that space, as agreed, as to why there was a town square overlay on it, was mixed-use development. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Gentry. Glenn Thomas, did you wish to speak now, or are you speaking for one of the? Okay, thank you. I would like to talk about a couple things that, or one thing that happened this last week. The care spot has opened at 9490 East 350 Highway, beautiful facility. If you have health needs, you can go there, and if you have a flu or cold or some type of injury, it's a large facility. They have x-rays, very impressive. You get an opportunity to go by and take a look at it. The ribbon cutting took place last Friday, and the grand opening was on Saturday. I wanted to mention also that the Missouri Municipal League Civic Leader Awards of the year will take place this Thursday in Grandview, and several of us will be attending that session. And the recipient of this year's award in the city of Raytown will be Larry Long, and we're very glad to report that. Is there any communication from the city administrator?
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem, Board of Aldermen. Just one item to mention tonight. Last night, a group of Raytown residents gathered at the Google Fiber space to hear about exciting things that are coming our way. Rachel Heck, Community Marketing Manager for Google Fiber Kansas City, gave a presentation on what Google Fiber is, why Kansas City was chosen as the first recipient, how it was distributed throughout Kansas City, Missouri, and Kansas, and what to expect when it comes to Raytown. Google Fiber was not able to give an estimate of when they will be coming to Raytown, but said we were next on the list. If you would like to get information and give your email address as an interested person, visit the Google Fiber website at googlefiber.com and register to receive information. You can also keep up with the progress by following their blog at googlefiberblogspot.blogspot.com. The open house was filmed by Michael Downing and is available on his website at raytownonline.com. We will keep everyone updated on, as well as our website on our Facebook page. With that, I will conclude my report.
Do we have any committee reports?
The Raytown EMS Fire Merger Proposal Discussion Committee will meet next Tuesday here in the council chambers at 7 p.m.
Thank you. Mr. Kramer, do you have anything to report?
Nothing to report.
Hey, Mr. Lightfoot,
Nothing at this time, sir. Is there anything to report, Mr. Mock, as
Yes. Council on Aging will be meeting on this Thursday, the 18th, at 4:15 in the conference room here at the City Hall.
Thank you. We'll now move on to the legislative session, and we have a consent agenda before us, and which just consists of the minutes of the last meeting. I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Nelson has the motion, seconded by Mr. Mock. I would ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Alderman Nelson,
Yes.
Alderman Mock,
Yes.
Alderman Lightfoot,
Yes.
Alderman DeVester,
Yes.
Alderman Ernst,
Yes.
Alderman Emerson,
Yes.
Alderman Jason Green,
Yes.
Alderman Asia,
Yes.
Alderman Josh Green,
Yes.
Alderman Kramer,
Yes. I'll ask the clerk to read item number 2.
a resolution authorizing the city administrator to enter into an agreement with Line Weaver Construction, Inc. for the White Oak West Line A sanitary sewer improvement project in an amount not to exceed $3,091,952.
Mr. Knoll, do you have any additional information to add?
Yes, I do have some information to add. This project was reprioritized after some rainstorm events several years ago, where we realized we had more issues in the southern part of the city along 83rd Street than we did in the northern section. So we reprioritized those projects, completed the design on the White Oak West Line A project, have spent a significant amount of time securing all the necessary permits through DNR and the Army Corps of Engineers, and also securing approval from the special section of DNR for the state revolving fund loans. This is part of bond proceeds that were generated from the state revolving fund bond issuance. We are asking for all of those remaining bond funds of $3,285,970 be transferred into the capital improvement fund for this project, as we anticipate there are additional expenses that will be incurred with this project for inspection services, because we will have to hire a full-time inspector company, professional services firm that will perform all of those inspections, be on site for us 100% of the time. So we do want to transfer all of those funds over to the capital improvement fund, and then also to authorize $3,091,000, $952 for the low bid of Line Weaver Construction. You're going to answer any other questions you may have.
Is there any discussion from the board, and any questions from Mr. Nelson?
I do have a question. Have we used this company before? A Line Weaver?
We have not used them here in Raytown in the recent past. However, they do have good recommendation from other firms, and I have experience working with them in the past as well that was positive.
So they've been well vetted and background and solid to be able to follow through on this plan?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Ernst?
This project's been a long time in coming. I'm very excited about seeing it finished. This will also include the repaving of 83rd Street from Kentucky all the way over to where, well, all the rest of 83rd actually. Also, the sanitary sewer will service sewers throughout Ward 5 and Ward 4. I think as far north as 79th Street is at some points connected to it, which will greatly reduce backups in that area. And it's been a long, long problem. I'm glad to see it's coming forward and look forward to it. And I make a motion to approve.
Second. I'd like to ask some questions about that.
Okay, the motion to approve is made by Mr. Ernst, seconded by Mr. Kramer. Do we have further discussion?
Thank you.
Mr. Jason Green.
Thank you, Mr. Mr. Knoll, I have a question. You said about additional expenditures possibly. That's not indicated in here, correct?
That is correct. We don't, what we will be doing is authorizing approximately $3 million for line waiver construction, and then making a budget amendment to move it from the unallocated or unreserved fund balance to the capital improvement fund. And then when those additional expenses come forward, we will then come before the board once we know those additional expenses and have completed negotiation with a service provider. We will bring that before the board for approval.
Okay, this may be a little premature, but do we have any idea maybe on how much that would possibly be? Like a rough estimate, if you will, if not.
We believe we can complete it with the funds that are available. So I don't really have the need to negotiate that with the selected service provider at the level of inspection that we prefer. So we do anticipate we'll use a majority of any funds left over. And those SRF funds can only be used for approved projects that have been previously approved by the Department of Natural Resources. So if we don't use it all on this project, we'll have to go back before the DNR for approval on another project before we can utilize those funds.
Okay, and my final question is, this project's 270 calendar days, so the anticipated completion date is May 2014. I'm just curious, hypothetically, if this project isn't done by May of 2014, in terms of the contract with this company, is there any type of penalty they may be facing or anything like that of that nature?
Yes, all of our contracts come with liquidated damages. I believe this one is about $950 a day.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Lightfoot.
I'd just like to reiterate some of what Alderman Burks spoke to, and that this is a well-needed project that's been a long time coming. And although there have been major improvements to infrastructure as far as sewer backup due to our storm drain systems, this end of town, still does have its issues and problems, and this will be a major improvement. And this, I've heard a lot about this from the constituents of Ward 5 and the issues we've had over the years, so I'm glad to see it coming, and the bid and everything just looked great, so thank you.
Yes. Mr. Kramer.
And along with Alderman Lightfoot, Alderman Burks, I agree it's a much needed project. It's been a long time coming. To kind of explain to some of our new aldermen, when you get into situations like this and you start digging into the earth, sometimes you don't know what you're going to find. And so you have to have additional expense. Andy, probably the toughest one would be running into rock, wouldn't it? In a project like this, or what do you think would be the greatest possibility and expense?
Rock generally is an issue when you do an excavation. Powder on this project, we knew there would be some rock, and we put it as an unclassified excavation. So if they do encounter rock, there is no additional claim for expenses from the contractor for that. However, there's always a change order of some sort on a project, whether to increase, so you want to add another storm inlet as you go along, or just some quantities of asphalt to increase, or we had to replace a long driveway than we anticipated. Some of those areas. So if we had not had any additional change orders at this point, simply due to $3 million. So as we get into the project, if we see a need for a change order that increases the allowable expense on it, we will bring that back to the board. But there's many different items that can cost change orders on a project this large and this complex.
Thank you. Anyone else have any other comments or questions for Mr. Vaughn?
Yeah, anticipation of closures of streets, how long, anything like that for?
In the plans, it had specific timeframes for how much of 83rd Street can be closed. For one section, they actually have to complete a section of the project before they can move on and have that section of road back open. Not 100% complete, but where cars can pass through there. So that is a big consideration that we have. that we considered, especially with the elementary school being in the vicinity of that project. So they will always be able to get to the elementary school. So that they will never be shut off, maybe for 10 or 15 minutes, maybe 30 minutes, but not days or weeks at a time.
All right, thanks.
Anyone else? I do have a question, Mr. Noel, on the bid results. I noticed from the engineer's estimate to the construction company that we're proposing the bid to, the differences are in most of those categories or seem to be exceptionally different. Can you explain that?
A lot of it is with the amount of rock where we did unclassified excavation. We didn't know if they were uncertain as to where they wanted to include more fees for the inclusion of rock. Sometimes it varies of where they will include that additional fees. And then just the complexity of the boring, whether it be directional boring or boring and casing. Sometimes those prices are very dependent on how far they have to transport their equipment, which company it is, some of those things. When we get into those very more specific items, not specific, but specialized items, sometimes just where their equipment is play a big part of the pricing that we receive.
Okay, the base bid was very close, but to the engineer's estimate, actually a little under by about, I say a little under, over 400,000 under, so I guess that's a fairly sizable amount, but some of those were 3 to 5 times, one of them 2 times, so, but that's a good explanation for it. Thank you. Anyone else have any questions? If not, we have a motion and a second. We'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Alderman Ernst?
Yes.
Alderman Kramer?
Yes.
Alderman Josh Green?
Yes.
Alderman Jason Green?
Yes.
Alderman Nelson?
Yes.
Alderman Van Busker?
Yes.
Alderman Lightfoot?
Yes.
Alderman Asia?
Yes.
Alderman Anderson?
Yes.
Alderman Monk?
Yes.
We have 10 for, no one opposed. I would ask the clerk to read item number 3.
A resolution authorizing and approving the acceptance of all work performed by Miller Paving and Construction LLC for the Blue Ridge Sidewalk Project.
Mr. Noel, do you have any additional information to add?
Yes, this is a project several years old, actually. We received AIR grant money for the construction of the sidewalk. Contractor, Miller Paving was the low bidder on that project. They completed probably 98% of it before they entered into bankruptcy protection. They completed the last little bit of work on the bankruptcy protection, and then we had to negotiate with all of the bondholders and subcontractors making claims against this project. So at this point, everyone's been paid. We just need to do the final acceptance on this project. And the main reason for that is so that we can close the reporting period for the bond, the grant period. We need to close that grant period, and then you have a 2-year period after that, in which you must maintain files for audits, items such as that. So we need to get this official close date. MoDOT has accepted all work with the project, which was a critical item. We received that earlier this year. So now we are ready to move forward with the final acceptance of the project to start that 2-year period of countdown so we can completely done with this project and not have to worry about any further questions in the future.
Do any of the aldermen have questions? Mr. Ernst.
Yeah, I just want to say it's great to see so many people using the sidewalk out there. I saw that somebody had to come back and redo a couple of driveways that were the wrong angle and a few things that I'm sure, with a grant of the size of the amount of government oversight that we got for paving the Euro Lane, I was glad to see it done. And I will second Mr. Kramer's motion.
Mr. Kramer, did you make a motion?
I did.
Yes, Kramer, do that again.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Is there a second?
One second.
Mr. Ernst, okay. So Motion was made by Mr. Kramer, seconded by Mr. Hertz. Is there any discussion regarding any vote discussion?
I do have a question.
Sure, certainly.
The city has received confirmation of all the claims that they were paid and any liens against the city, any of that type of stuff, and that was all through MoDOT, correct?
Not necessarily through MoDOT. There's a certain time frame in which contractors have to make a claim against the bonding company. So we have just about every subcontractor on the project made a claim.
Right.
So we've been through, Mr. Williams, about 8 of those.
Yeah, we've dealt extensively with this, Mr. Nolan, through the bonding company and complimenting on his work. It's been a long, difficult process, but we're finally at an end.
Okay, and so the city's not liable for any other contractors, anything like that?
That's correct.
Okay, great, thank you.
Anyone else? I would ask the clerk to call the roll, please.
Alderman Taylor,
Yes.
Alderman Ertz,
Yes.
Alderman Asia,
Yes.
Alderman Mock, Alderman Mock,
Yes.
Alderman Jason Green,
Yes.
Alderman Anderson,
Yes.
Alderman Lightfoot,
Yes.
Alderman Josh Green,
Yes.
Alderman Van Nessler,
Yes.
Alderman Nelson,
Yes.
Thank you, Ms. Henry.